Here we go. Another video. Thought for today. Relax and know. The real wealth. It's like real health, real knowledge. None of this stuff they would try to teach you in college. So what I'm going to talk about is like a lot of the problems people seem to have today is doubt, worry, and complain. I mean, just the other day I was taking a walk down by the lake. I would have to say like 8 out of 10 of the people I cross paths with, just overhearing their conversations, were complaining about something. You know, all the successful people I know, they don't really complain too much. They don't really doubt. They don't really worry. Stay positive. Just have a reason to believe that, you know, everything's gonna work out. So I'm gonna talk about you know, what some of these issues are today, why people have such a difficult time getting over all this fear and anxiety and doubt and worry. How it's so prevalent in our society. It seems to be increasing. Gonna be looking at the solution to all that. So like me personally, I remember when I first started doing my business stuff, and I would tell people about my goals, and so many people would doubt me. So many people would tell me like that'll never work. Like, you just need to keep looking for a job. And yeah, this really put a lot of doubt in myself. So as I did more and more research, I realized that was actually a common thing. And I kind of made up a plan, right? So the next business endeavor I did, which was really like the first business endeavor I did by myself, that was the book business, right? And I made a plan. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this, but I'm not gonna tell anybody what I'm about to do. It was only really like one other friend who was an entrepreneur who understood what I was doing, you know, just talking to him about advice and stuff. But I knew when I like approached the, you know, main people in my circle, like my family and a lot of my friends, that it was probably going to be the same responses I got whenever I came to them with my old business ideas. So anyways, what I did was I said, okay, I'm going to give myself 1 year. If I make this work in a year, I'm going to keep doing it. And I'm not going to tell anybody about it until I'm already seeing enough progress that I know it's going to work. You know, that I'll be like, all right, I see the results. I see that it's making money. I see that it's profitable. Then I'll go and tell everybody, and I'm going to tell everybody like I just started it. So it only took me about 3 to 4 months before I was already making, you know, a couple $1,000s a month, which was already like more than I was making at the job I was working at the time, you know. So at that point, I told my family and I told a bunch of my friends, like, yeah, I'm doing this book business. Sure enough, they said, oh, you better not quit your job. Like, that'll never work and all that stuff, right? And I said, well, guess what? It already worked out. Sure enough, they were like telling me how like, well, it's not going to work in the long run. Just don't do it. Stick with the job and everything. And I was like, all right, we'll see. You know, now these same people, years and years later, same people are telling me how they're so proud of me, how they always knew it was going to work and everything. And I'm like, all right, cool. You know, I'm not trying to argue with them or anything. I just appreciate that they finally came around in the end and everything. But at the same time, once I like decided to like branch out into new business endeavors, I got the same resistance. But I'm already at a point where like, you know, I already know that what I'm gonna do is gonna work. I've already seen the success. I don't have any doubts. If I do, I squash it as soon as I get it, and it's just like nothing compared to what it used to be. So yeah, getting into it. Basically, you've got, you know, not knowing, like having doubts whether something's gonna work out, versus like knowing and believing, having faith that something's gonna work out, right? So breaking it all down, if you don't know something is gonna work out, it's because you don't really understand it, right? So you're gonna have doubt, you're gonna have worry, You're going to be complaining about things that don't seem like they're happening the way you want it to. This is going to lead to, fear that everything's not really going to happen. And, fear leads to anxiety. Anxiety is like one of the worst kind of like feelings I think that you could have, really. Like, it's just really bad for you. Anxiety pretty much leads to a state of depression. And, this is when it goes from pretty much your mind to your health, because it all starts in your mind, right? It's all state of mind. Like, one person could look at one situation and get all this fear and anxiety, and another person could totally be confident, totally have faith that it's going to work out. So anyways, once you get to that state of depression, that's when it really like affects your body negatively. Obviously, you can just like Google depression and the side effects. Everybody's dealt with it at some point in some level. And it has a lot of negative health side effects that will like negatively affect your life. So that's what you really want to beat, right? That's what you really want to avoid. And really, most people are really not conscious about their thought patterns. Most people, go through day to day, and for the most part, they're doing a lot of the same things, repeating a lot of the same patterns. And it takes a conscious person to really like break out of that, to really see the cycles and everything, right? So, it all comes down to like meditation. It all comes down to like being aware of what you're doing and taking more time to be aware. And that can be achieved in a lot of different ways, which I'm not really going to go into more right now. But if you want me to do another video on that, break that down a lot more, just go ahead, leave it in the comments. Be happy to put in my 2 cents, what I've learned over the years. And really what I'm trying to say is like, everybody has the ability to have control over what they think. Like, everybody has the ability to be conscious about these cycles, to be conscious about what kind of thoughts are going through their mind. And if you do have this consciousness, then you're able to really change these patterns and reverse it to positivity. So one of the biggest problems I see in our society today is that many people take drugs for this anxiety or this doubt. Even people that aren't entrepreneurs, even people that have jobs and stuff, they feel like they're stressed out. They feel like they have a lot of issues that they're just not sure that it's gonna all work out and everything. So what do? They go to the doctor because obviously it's like affecting their health. And what does the doctor say? The doctor says, oh, well, you need to take these drugs, right? Like, go ahead and take these drugs and you'll get better. And unfortunately, what I see is a lot of people, they trust, because in our society, like, doctors are considered to be like an authority. They're considered to be smart people. So they trust what the doctor says, and they go ahead and they take these drugs. Well, the main thing is like, these drugs only mask the problem, because when these drugs wear off, the doubt, the anxiety is even worse, and that causes you to have to take even more of these drugs, and it's like a horrible cycle, right? So, our society really promotes this, like there's a drug for everything. I mean, I remember like 15-20 years ago, there was not one single commercial on TV for one of these random pills or drugs that people can take for whatever problem they have, right? Now today is like, I feel like the majority of these commercials on TV are for some random drug, for some like random thing that they don't even really explain. But you just got to go tell your doctor, and the doctor's gonna like put you on it, and everything's gonna be all right. Well, basically, one of the things that I feel like they neglect to tell you is that these drugs aren't meant to be like taken to like fix the problem, right? They're meant to be taken forever. Like, it's not like you just take them for a period of time and the problem will go away, because you're not dealing with what is actually the reality of the problem. You're not getting to the root of it. You're just kind of masking it, right? So yeah, and as it goes, the dose is going to need to be increased over time. and it just gets to a point where people are totally dependent on these things, right? Which makes a lot of sense on a lot of the recent news articles and lawsuits that have been going on with these pharmaceutical companies, right? So these pharmaceutical companies have been in a lot of trouble recently because there's been evidence that they have basically known from the start, that these drugs were meant to be addictive. These drugs they want people. Not every one of them. I'm not calling out any names of companies, but just go Google this. You can find out for yourself. A lot of these companies knowingly put these drugs out and design them so that they're going to be addicted, that people are going to be on them forever. And not only that, but they've really paid doctors to prescribe it more often, right? Like they've really told doctors, like they've given them quotas. They've given doctors all kind of like, not a lot of, in a lot of cases they don't really give the doctors like money, but they'll give the doctors, like free dinners and vacations, stuff of that nature, right? And then in some cases, even like the more a doctor prescribes a certain drug, the more of like a bonus or money, straight up money that they'll get. And this has turned out to be a huge problem because a lot of people have gotten hooked on these drugs based on, just trusting their doctors and everything like that. So, you just got to be aware of these things. You just got to be aware that like your brain is already meant to like work perfectly. You don't need any of this stuff. Like you can solve these problems on your own. That's the best way to do it. I mean, obviously, it's good to get help from other people and everything, but consciousness, just becoming aware of the problem and then taking an active, like making the decision just that you don't need these drugs, that you're gonna find the solution on your own, which is totally possible. So basically, here's what the solution is, right? Is just knowing, like, just being calm and knowing that everything is going to work out. And that's so hard. It can be hard. Like for me now, it's to a point where it's easy because I've gone through so many years of like learning this and understanding this, and it's just knowing. You just got to know. How do you do that? Through research. Like anything you want to learn, the answers are out there, and it's so easy to just find any kind of answer on the internet. Go and search on YouTube, just Google it, whatever. I mean, you got courses online, and that's the main thing, is education. Because once you go and you can educate yourself, you get to a point where you don't need to like go to a school or a university, and you get confident that you just can figure out the solution to any problem just by doing your own research. Then you get to a point where you're already like a step ahead. So what comes next really is like the research, right? Like just doing the research. So once you know that there is a solution, I mean, that's huge. That's huge for your mind, because then you can have belief that like it's possible to learn what you need to learn, to do what you need to do, to achieve what you need to achieve. And with that belief, the more you believe it's possible, the more you have faith that everything's going to work out, the more relaxed you become, the more happy you become. And just like the opposite of anxiety and depression, right, where it affects you negatively, this is going to affect your health positively. It's going to make you more healthy. You're going to sleep better. You're going to become stronger. You're just going to become an overall better, happier person. And it's just going to like be like an exponential effect off that, because you can start with the smallest problem, and once you realize that you can solve that, it's going to give you motivation to move on to the next problem and the next problem. And then you get to a point where it's just like, hey, whatever you feel like you want to do, you can do. Like your mind, your thoughts create your reality, right? So many people, I hear like, well, I'll do this when I get this money, or I can do this when I get this, or when the government changes or whatever. But at the end of the day, like if that's what you believe, that's going to be your reality. That's going to be your truth. So you need to really be at a point where it's like you believe that everything that you need, to accomplish what you need to accomplish is all about your thinking, and it's all about making the decision that you want to do it, and then just going through and doing the research and learning what you need to do, and getting to a point where it's like, okay, I know exactly what I need to do. Now all I need to do is do it. And I mean, once you know what you need to do, that's when you just like break through that new level. And you know, another thing to add to this, I think, is it's important to not try to do too much in the beginning. Like, just start with smaller issues, and then you can like build some momentum off of that. But yeah, I mean, you just get to bigger and bigger goals, and then as you see, like, when you set these goals and you reach these goals, you just get to a point where it's like, okay, I could be setting a lot bigger goals, right? Like, and you'll know when it's time to do that. You'll know when it's time to really expand your horizons and the goals that you're setting. And once you get to that point, it's like the sky's the limit. You just keep on doing what you're doing. Know everything is going to work out. And one more thing I'd like to add really is, like, when I really got into all this and started realizing this, I really, you know, was like, wanted to tell everybody, right? And I would be telling all my friends and family and people I would meet. Well, at the end of the day, you know, in my mind, I'm like, wow, this is powerful. You know, this could help a lot of people. Well, at the end of the day, really, I'd say, like, you know, if I told 100 people this, I can think of maybe like 1 or 2 that actually took action. So I look back at all the time I spent like trying to convince people of this stuff, and it was like fighting an uphill battle because most people really weren't trying to hear it. So now what I realize is, like, hey, like, you know, I want to help people with this. I want to provide value to people. But this is like the perfect platform, right, YouTube, because people that are actually looking for a solution, like, they can come to me and they can find me from anywhere in the world. Like, I don't have to just go out and tell random people that I see. Like, I know it's huge that people actually need to be like, make that decision that they want to solve this problem. They want to solve whatever problem that they have. So at the end of the day, I can really see that this channel right here is providing a lot more value than I could ever do just you know, going out in the world and just like talking to people about stuff. So I'm really fortunate that I have this opportunity to help people here. I really hope that this video has provided value. I really hope that you've gotten some kind of knowledge off of this that you can apply to your life to make your life better. That's what I'm trying to do with all my videos. That's what I'm trying to do with my business, with everything that I do. And if you like what I said, go ahead and smash up the likes. Go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell. Go ahead and leave any comments, anything you want to know about, anything you want me to expand on, any topics you'd like me to talk about. It's going to be about it for today. Hope you like what I had to say. I'm out.